Well, it's about that time to get out and get in your yard and clean up all that debris and trash that collected over the winter. But did you know that cleaning up smoking materials now also can help prevent deck fires? I'm here with the Assistant Fire Marshal, Dawn, and she's here to tell us a little bit more about really just some motivation about getting out there and probably just cleaning up.
Absolutely. So now's the time of year where we start to see an uptick in deck and balcony fires. A lot of them are contributed to discarded smoking materials. We've had one already this year. Last year we had 16. And the reason that it's really important to take care of getting your smoking debris and discarded materials cleaned up is because if a fire were to start there on the exterior of your deck, depending on the siding of your building, it can progress really rapidly up the side of your building and get to your attic, and that's when we lose roofs. And we, if it's a single family residence, you're displaced. If it's a multifamily residence, we have several people displaced. If it's not something that's found and reported in a timely fashion where we can get there and suppress it quickly. So just being aware of, if you're a smoker, if you have a family member who's a smoker, getting out and getting those materials cleaned up so that they're not accumulating, and then proper disposal of your smoking materials if you do smoke.
So when we're talking about smoking materials, we're talking about people that are smoking cigarettes or cigars when they have like their ashtrays, or what exactly are other ways? Because I know smoking materials, that sounds, but what exactly are all those materials?
Yep, so you're right, cigars, cigarettes, but it's also the manner in which you dispose of them. So once they're out, making sure that they're cleaned up, but also disposing them properly so that they're not a smoldering fire as they sit there. So we always encourage you to pinch it out. Never put it in a combustible container. We always would encourage a metal container, deep sturdy base filled with sand. Pour water over it to make sure it's extinguished. Never use a planter. Often there's peat moss in there, and peat moss is combustible, and the cigarette will sit and smolder in there. So if you have a low humidity day with some wind, which we tend to have around here.
Especially on a day like today.
Absolutely. It will sit and fan that, and that's how these deck fires get started. And they can be very high dollar losses in a short period of time. We're talking, $1 million loss in an apartment building in no time at all.
So the best thing to do is make sure to put that butt out.
Yes, make sure, pinch it out, put it in water, never in a potting soil, a plant, anything like that. A deep, sturdy base metal container with sand.
That's great. I'm not really a smoker, to be honest, so I didn't really know that, but it is very good tips. Definitely a way to be respectful of other people's safety as well. So are there any other materials that we should really focus on that people need to be aware of, maybe when it comes like recreation, like fire pits or anything along those lines? Yeah,
so same types of a thing. Fire pits and recreational fires are allowed within the city of Fargo. If they are not in a proper container that has a cover like a mesh screen on it, it needs to be 25 feet from anything combustible. You also need to be aware of the weather conditions. Once again, low humidity, high wind can really, a spark can come out and start a fire that can spread quickly. So you can go onto our website and we have the fire conditions. In the city of Fargo, you can't have a recreational fire if there's a red flag warning, or if the fire danger is high, extreme, or very high. And so you can check our website. That information's all on there. So if you want to have a recreational fire, by all means have one, but just make sure that the weather is going to be conducive and safe for that. Like I said, if it's not a covered fire pit, it has to be 25 feet away from anything that can burn. So structures and fences. So if you have a wood fence, it needs to be 25 feet from a fence. If you have a fire pit which does have a cover on it, then you can go within you can go up to 15 feet away, but you still need to maintain that distance. So you have a little buffer there, so we're not increasing our risk for structure fires.
Well, another good reason why, if you're living in an apartment and you have a deck or an outdoor patio area, why you probably should just wait until you get a home for that grill before you put it in the backyard, because you really can cause a lot of damage.
Yep. Fires move very quickly, and if you're in an apartment, always refer to your apartment managers. They may have directions for you too of what they allow and what they don't allow.
Well, thank you so much. I feel like I learned so much, and especially about just being respectful of your neighbors as well, about that. Well, coming up on today's show, our next guest will give us a preview of Oscar style and skincare.